It is a new era, folks, and you are in very good hands. Welcome into First Take. Thank you so much for hanging with us. Oh, Coach K here. He's only had 18
Did you say Coach K?
first-round picks.
Did you say Coach K?
Coach Cal.
Cal.
Coach Cal.
Coach
Okay,
Cal.
you had a
Coach
Freudian
Cal.
slip there.
Cal. I just want to see if you're on your toes.
Here you go. You're good.
You ready?
You're good.
You good?
Yeah.
18 first-round picks out of Kentucky?
I've coached really good players. We talked about it over there. Character matters with how we do this. I can't bring in 5 guys and have one of them be just a bad guy that doesn't care about anybody else. We've been able to go out and get kids with character. We've had a 3.0 grade point average 6 to 7 years. We've had 14 guys graduate, 3 graduate in 3 years. No one hears all that stuff. APR, we're in the top 10%, which means the NCAA, how they're rating us academically. These are great kids who let us coach them. Now, here's a great one.
Well, hurry up, because I'm waiting for you.
I know, you want to come back at me. 18 scored first round, 1 year. You ready? Half of the 18 scored more in the NBA than they did for us.
Well, let me
What
say
does that
this.
mean?
Let me say this.
He's back, Stephen.
First things first. This man and I go back 20 years. When he was coaching at UMass and I was covering Temple University.
And he killed me then.
Excuse me. Don't interrupt me. I'm talking, okay?
Skip interrupted you all the time.
And he's gone. And he's gone now, okay? But here's the deal. Go back 20 years. He coached at UMass. I was covering Temple. One of his great former assistants who was the head coach at Drexel, Bruiser Flint, is one of my great friends. John Calipari is one of the great coaches. He's accomplished a great deal. I'm happy to be here. He's the only reason I'm here on my vacation, because I'm on vacation till July 11th. But I came in today for him.
Yeah,
okay?
because you heard me saying I'm going to bash.
That's right.
There you go.
That's right. And we are here. So I appreciate the fact that he's here. He deserves all the laudables he receives. I don't blame him for talking about Kentucky, because if Coach K can coach Team USA, which we'll get into later on, he can sit here and bloviate about Kentucky. But he did say he was coming to beat me down. Let's go.
Can't wait. Let's do it. On that note, we ready, folks? So after winning, the Cavs bringing the first championship there to Cleveland in 52 years, our Dave McMenamin talking to LeBron, saying that he is all in with the land. I love it here in Cleveland. I have no intentions of leaving. There are some technicalities to take care of. I'll leave up to my agent. That's right from the horse's mouth. We will start with you, Coach Cal. How long will LeBron stay in Cleveland?
I think he'll finish his career there. I really believe that. And unless there's some crazy thing that happens that we would all look at and say he should have left. I don't see it happening. I think they have an ownership group that gets it. I think what they've done with the moves they've made, you got to look at David and the management. I think he's happy with Coach Lou and the job he's done there. You know, he's been able to mold that team, and they'll probably make some moves to even see if they can get better. But, you know, he's home. He's with family. He brought something to that city that they've been yearning for, and it was one of their own that brought it back. It wasn't somebody from somewhere else. I'm just happy for him, their team, their coach, their owners. They're all good people. Good luck to him.
I think that when you talk about LeBron James, I don't think it was an accident that the L.A. rumors were out there, that the Miami rumors were out there, because I think that somebody as great as LeBron James consistently looks for new challenges. Right now, that doesn't appear to be the case. The great challenge is repeating as champions in Cleveland, establishing a level of dominance. He doesn't have to cement his legacy. That has already been cemented. We understand there's nothing to debate about LeBron James any longer. He's a 3-time NBA champion. He's a 3-time NBA Finals MVP. He's a 4-time league MVP. He's considered, in my mind, the greatest small forward to have ever played the game of basketball. There's nothing to cement about his legacy. But I do think, as time goes on, unless he has an ownership stake in the franchise and he ain't trying to leave, I do see LeBron James at some point, not this year, obviously, but next year or possibly a couple of years down the road, looking for a new challenge to close out his career, having fulfilled the promises that he made to the city of Cleveland and the Northeast Ohio area. And I definitely think that it's plausible and it's possible that LeBron James will go to a bigger market. Doesn't need to, because he's LeBron.
Reason?
Because again, new challenges.
He needs another shoe deal.
He doesn't need another shoe deal. He doesn't need more money. He doesn't need more money. He got to deal with Warner Brothers. He's got a whole bunch of stuff going on.
His family there.
That's right. But again, I do believe that. Listen, we're talking. First of all, I laugh when people like you say that. Let's think about what we're talking about here with John Calipari. Let's just take John Calipari into consideration.
Can I cut in on you?
You may in a second, okay? Because this ain't coaching. This is the show. I don't play for you. All right, I love you though. Here's the deal. John Calipari, UMass.
Yep.
John Calipari, Nets.
And got
John
fired.
Calipari. Well, don't worry about the firing part. They shouldn't let you go. But here's the point. Goes to, I don't even get me started with that. Then he's assistant coach of Philadelphia. Then goes to Memphis. Then goes to Kentucky. I'm sorry, John Calipari, you could have been comfortable various places. What did you do? You left because you were looking for new challenges, and that's what you did. More money, too, that never hurts, but you were looking for new challenges. Am I correct in that? Really? Go ahead.
Every time I left, it was for more of a challenge.
Right.
But the challenge he has is to repeat and keep Cleveland at that point. And I'm saying this again. If there was an issue with ownership, there is none. If there was an issue with management, there is none. There was a player issue. They don't have good enough players, and it can't change because of salary cap and all that. Okay, I don't see any of that. And I look at this, and I think there's a big thing about joy in your life. His joy was bringing this to Cleveland. And now the point becomes, does he get as much joy out of repeating and keeping that going like they had joy in San Antonio? None of those guys left. They didn't worry about leaving in a new challenge. It was right there. They built something. They ran with it. They all sacrificed, gave up minutes for years extending. And I think that in my mind, and again, I hit him after he hits me back. He's one of the great guys of all time.
Yes, he is.
And I have scholarship his sons, and
yeah, we'll talk about that too.
You know, he's all that stuff, and I just don't see it. I don't. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't see it.
I look at LeBron James and I say this. First of all, the relationship with Dan Gilbert. Okay, let's understand something here. There's a respect there. He's the owner. LeBron James is a superstar. We get that. Gotta respect Gilbert and give him a boatload of credit. Spent over $108 million in salary. Highest payroll in the league. Threw out a whole bunch of money. He's going to spend some money in the luxury tax dollars, whatever. He put his money where his mouth is, which is what you want an owner to do. But their relationship is not ideal. They accept one another. One would say they tolerate one another. I'll throw a question back to you, Coach John Calipari. If an owner had said the things about you that Dan Gilbert said about LeBron James when LeBron James departed in 2010 and wrote that letter, you might go back and work because it's a greater goal. You might go back to a place in spite of him. But could the relationship
Have you ever heard this term? Business.
Business?
This was business,
right.
Okay? And let me say this. You're talking about Dan, and I'm more impressed with what Dan has done in the city of Detroit.
I agree.
Than
I agree.
Even what he's helping to do in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And when you're dealing with somebody like that, that's who he is. So whether he lost his mind for a minute and said stuff and wrote, they didn't want that to happen. But I think they've gotten by it. So I think you're wrong there. And business beats business. And that.
Well, from a business perspective, let's analyze that for a second here. Are we assuming that Dan Gilbert is going to continue to have the highest payroll in the league?
No, I bet you that
he's going
doesn't
to trim
happen.
that to some degree?
I think he will. And I think he will, but not at the expense of we cannot win now. Because if he does that, you and I know now LeBron has to look at this in a different light.
But that's what I'm saying to you. Let's not anticipate that LeBron is going to stay in Cleveland forever, into perpetuity, no matter what.
I agree.
You're going to have to meet certain requirements in order to appease him.
Can we agree with this? If he does decide to leave, we all could leave. We could sit here and say, we see why.
Okay.
It's not going to be like, why would he have left? It will never be that. That ain't going to be what it is. It's going to be something that we all see and say, well, what did you expect him to do?
Or it could be something along the lines of LeBron James reaching a point where he says, okay, I want new challenges. I have fulfilled my promise to Cleveland 2 times, 3 times over. Life is good. I want to move on to a new challenge before I end my career. There's nothing wrong with that, particularly if you leave a foundation in place that's going to enable you to continue to be a title contender. That is plausible.
That's talking head stuff, in my opinion.
That's right. Okay.
That's what
but you know what?
You know what? They could say it about me. Well, he's never going to be fulfilled till he goes to the NBA. It has nothing to do with why I stayed at Kentucky.
Okay. What has something to do with it then?
Well, for me, there becomes a point where you have enough money.
Okay.
Anytime I speak, it's not that I said something. What did he mean?
All right.
Who is he taking a show? What?
Okay.
So there comes a point of fame, which is I'm fine. I don't really need to be here. So wait a minute. Let me finish.
Okay.
So now there becomes what brings joy to you. All this other stuff doesn't matter to me. What brings joy? One, I'm going to coach my own son. He's joining the team.
Okay. That's good.
And my wife tells me I'm playing him. She said, and I've said, look, guys, I sleep with this kid's mom. I mean, I got a little problem here.
There we go.
Happy wife, happy life.
How about that?
But the other side of it is, what brings joy to me is that this day happens, and every year it happens, there are 4, 5, 6, 7 families that I can sit there and say, life has just changed. At times, first time in their lives they can breathe. And they breathe. That brings great joy. Now, I want to win every game. I want to win every championship. I want to be in the Final Four every year.
Right.
But that doesn't bring joy to me. That's part of my job and what they expect.
Coach John Calipari.
This brings joy.
Coach John Calipari, you're on First Take, bro. Who you think you talking to? You ain't never ever consider, entertain, leaving
Oh, I did.
Kentucky. That's what I'm saying. So you thought about it, didn't you? I understand you did it, but you thought it. You're talking like it's not even a thought that came over your mind. Of course it's a thought.
Well,
NBA?
I'm saying to you,
okay,
he might have someone come at him and he looks at it, but at the end of the day, what is going to bring the most joy to you? What is going to bring the most? He doesn't need any more money.
Okay, let me ask you this question. All right, I got you. Let me ask you this question. John Calipari won a national championship at Kentucky. What I would ask you is this. Is there anything that you could imagine that could potentially eclipse that level of joy that you felt if you were to repeat it at Kentucky?
Yeah.
What would that be?
It would be 7 first-round draft picks, the 1 and 2 and 3 pick, because we got the 1 and 2. And in sports, it's the only time the 1 and 2 have ever gone in sports. From the same school to the draft.
Okay.
I say all this to you that when we won the national championship, my wife came up on stage, and I looked at her and said, that's over. We're done with that. In other words, everybody tried to say, well, he's never won a national title. I don't have to hear it anymore. We won it. Now let's get on with our life. Our life has become, how do we continue to help these kids? How do we love them so they love each other? When we help them, they know, and they're trying to win. More than any other team, they want to win. And I know that. If we win and win it all, it helps them even more. It's not the other way around. It's the program. We put up banners. It's about that banner right there. Take their names off the back of the jersey.
Well, why can't it be about both?
It is.
Why can't it be about, exactly.
But here's what it's about both in this way. You do right by these kids. They're going to do right by each other, and you're going to win championships. Okay, let me say this. In the 6 years, we've won more games than any team, been to more Final Fours than any team.
Speak up. Don't mumble. You ain't Shaq. You ain't Shaquille O'Neal. Don't mumble.
I'm saying all the stuff on the court is more than anybody else in the country's done, and that's not been the total focus. The focus starts with the kids and doing right by them. Look, I have a job. Help them get jobs. I have a job. Help them get jobs. Now, I have to teach life skills that are going to carry them. You look at John Wall. What did he just get? What award did he just get? And Anthony Davis was the other guy. Look at my kids in the league, and you know them all.
Yes, I do.
Great.
They're great guys. They're great guys.
And they're prepared.
But they
You're
can
getting
play.
beat in this one.
I'm not getting beat. I'm waiting for you to beat me, John Calipari. I'm ready, but I'm not.
He's 1-0 right now.
Whatever. The point is
what's
this.
that show they put the numbers up?
They're gonna.
What
does that show you guys have?
I know what it ain't numbers. It wasn't
Around the horn thing.
Around the
horn. No, around the horn.
Sports Nation back in the day, they used to do it.
Well, I don't do that. We're First Take. We do our own thing.
I got score right here.
So in the end, hold on. In the end, here's what it comes down to. Getting back to LeBron, getting back to people like yourself and others. When in the end, what we're talking about here is this. New challenges. Yes, your players, to use players for your program, they want to succeed. Obviously, you want to give them life skills. You want to prepare them to ascend to another level. That's very admirable. And I have no doubt that you mean what you say. But let's not just gloss over the importance of winning and being great and understanding that you have to establish
I'm knocking this out of the park. I'm going to make one sentence. Everyone out there is going to say, Stephen A., you got beat. Okay? Here's the statement.
Go ahead.
Please write this down.
Okay.
This is big-time stuff.
I'm waiting.
Go with the known. Leave the unknown alone. You got anything for that?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. You're just saying stuff.
Yes.
You're thinking it right
Stephen
now.
A., of course he has something.
You know me well enough to know I say what I mean what I say. You can go with the known and leave the unknown if you want to. But at the end of the day, how are you really pushing yourself if you're going the safe
If
route?
you haven't, well, early in my career, I did take the chances. I went to.
That's right, and look at where you are now.
But just listen, he's not at that stage. He's already done that. He went to Miami and then back to Cleveland.
Okay.
He did that.
Okay.
So when I went to the Nets, I had never coached in the NBA, never played in the NBA, was a hell of a player. I was small, but I was slow.
Okay.
That was me as a player.
Okay.
I go to the NBA without knowing. I remember Kerry Kittles. We're 3 weeks into the season. He comes up to me and says, Coach, all the stuff we did in training camp, we're not doing any of it now. I said, because none of it worked. We had to change on the run. Anyway, I then go to Memphis. Why would I leave what we had going at Memphis to go to Kentucky? Because of what you said. It was going to be a new challenge and a different stage.
And it's
you
the
know
best
what?
thing that ever happened.
It was the best thing, but let me say this. Now, what's left for me? Another national
I agree with
title?
that. Time out. We got to go. But I want to say this.
Why do we have to go?
Because we got
revisit
another
it.
segment to make. But I want you to know, you lost that argument because you said go with the known, leave the unknown alone, but just confirm that going with the unknown, which was going to Kentucky,
Guess what?
is the
Now
best
it's
thing.
known.
So you
Early
lost
in
the
your career.
argument.
Oh,
You
stop
lost.
it. Stop it.
Okay? Let's
All right,
move on.
Let's move on to